equally honored to welcome Representative Jackie Walorski. She is a lifelong Hoosier, born and raised in South Bend, Indiana. First elected, I lived in Indianapolis for 10 years. We can clap for Indiana. First elected to Congress in 2012, the Congresswoman currently serves on the House Ways and Means Committee. She's a member of the Financial Security Caucus and supports many NAIFA-backed bills, including the Secure Act and legislation to address the cost of health care coverage by repealing the health insurance tax and 40% excise tax on employer-provided coverage. Earlier this month, Representative Walorski was recognized as one of 2 outstanding Congressional Shattering Expectations honorees for her success lifting women while she climbs. She will also be honored at a reception this evening at the National Museum of Women in the Arts. Please join me in welcoming Representative Jackie Walorski.
Okay, is there anybody out here from Northern Indiana NAIFA? I'm going to give you a shout out. You guys are the best in all of the NAIFA world. So thank you for being here. Thank you for what you do. Let me tell you why I'm so passionate about NAIFA is because I have chapters in my district that are the best of the best of the best. They're completely involved in our community. They have me over all the time to keep me accountable and absolutely know that I know exactly what's on their mind and what's on the minds of their clients and the folks that they serve. And they do what they should do. And I do what I should do, is absolutely respond and make sure that I am fighting here for you and for the clients that you serve. So I am grateful to be here. I really appreciate the invitation, and I'm a big fan of NAIFA. So if you ever think that all the good things you're doing go unnoticed, they don't, because I'm a customer too. So I appreciate it. So it was good. I got like the last 5 minutes of Senator Grassley's remarks, and as he walked off and I walked on, I said, I have the same talking points, so I'm going to have to just get up there and say ditto. He said, he goes, if you say it, you'll lend credibility, so they'll believe it. I said, I guess so. So let me just tell you that I represent Elkhart, Indiana, and it's the RV capital of the world. And we are the largest manufacturing district in the country, in Indiana's 2nd district. And I'm telling you this for one reason, that you absolutely are here at such a pivotal time, and I will get to retirement, and I'll get to RISA, and I'm going to say everything Grassley just said, so I want to tell you something else. But here's why it's important that you're here this week. It's not just retirement issues. It's not just all the NAIFA issues, but there is an issue that is going to impact every American, and you're here literally in the apex of this, because this is the 5-alarm fire that's going on, and it's this issue of trade and tariffs. Because everybody you serve is going to be affected by what happens with trade and tariffs. And I just want to throw this out to you to let you know that, we are the largest manufacturing district. Therefore, especially in Northern Indiana, your clients are going to be absorbed in this issue. That's going to affect the pocketbook of every American. And just wanted to let you know, I am on Ways and Means. I've been there for a year and a half. This is the first time I've ever been in the minority in the House. And, it's quite a feat to come in a trifecta of power. You come in, when I came in, it was the House, the Senate, and the President. Then we lost the House, and now we're in the minority. But I have landed on my feet, and I respect the other side of the aisle, and I'll work with whoever will work with me. And I can tell you, on these issues of trade, we are going to fare better as Americans, especially in manufacturing, working with the Democrats and not just with the trifecta of Republican power. There's a lot of reasons for that, but I am just grateful to be here as a member. I represent a real big swing seat, and it swings every time, but I am grateful to be here and not only be able to fight for these insurance programs that are bipartisan and that Chairman Neal has committed to in a bipartisan way, and you heard Senator Grassley that the Senate is going to come alongside. We're going to be at some point declaring one of the biggest victories this session is going to be your issues. And we're going to, I think, declare a victory as well on these issues of trade because of the fact that the House is bipartisan, and we will fare better as working Americans with a split House for this issue as well. And we will get it through. We will figure out a way to engineer it with the president. And I think we're going to be able to come out of this session and say, as long as we work for the benefit of our fellow Americans, we can get things done, and we will get things done. And these are two great examples. And so you're here kind of witnessing history, and I'm so glad you're here this week. I just wanted to give you a couple of pointers since you pretty much know as much as there is to know about the Secure Act and RISA and the retirement plan. And, we had passed this in the Republican House. Richie picked it up and is moving it through the bipartisan Democratic House. The Senate's interested, and we're going to be able to present a good cohesive package. And we're all going to be proud of that, and it's going to help our fellow Americans. But while you're here on the Hill, I just have a couple of suggestions for you. Let me just tell you, first of all, how thankful I am that your entire industry comes out here from all over the country. And I know you take off of work, you set time aside, you're paying for airfare, you're getting out here, you're doing the whole Hill thing. But every single member of Congress on the House and Senate side needs to hear from you. It's one thing to get talking points, and it's one thing to have an advocate that you hire to be your advocate out here, and you have a phenomenally great one. But it's so much more important. The words, you could say the same words as your advocate, and the power that it has is 10 times more on your side than on your professional advocate, because you're here and because you're talking to your representative about their constituents. And you have the same type of care and concern and wanting to make the quality of life better for your constituents. But let me tell you, make use of the time when you're in somebody's office. I wouldn't travel all the way out here and not say anything or let somebody else do the talking for me. If I'm sitting in a member's office, senator's office, I'm going to tell them exactly what it's like in their district. And I would talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I would ask them to be an advocate for their district with NAIFA. And I would even ask them to push them further, because these guys need to be pushed. They need to be pushed by you guys. I would look them in the eye and I would say, will you co-sponsor this piece of legislation? So are you a yes? Can I put a check by your name? And will you go talk to your leadership today about making sure this is a priority? If you want to see these NAIFA bills, you want to see the Secure and RISA fast track and blow through here, literally go after them tomorrow with the tenacity of what you came out here for. Because the power you guys encircle here, when NAIFA's in the House, everybody knows it, because you fill up a lot of elevators and it takes longer to get through the House. Those doors open up and we're all grumbling going, oh my God, who's here today? But when NAIFA's in the House, they listen. Many of us that have any kind of agriculture in our districts will say, when Farm Bureau comes, we're listening. We're there, because they have such a solid reputation of representing ag across the board. When NAIFA's in the House, NAIFA has that same kind of power. You guys, when there's so many of you in that place and you can cover so many offices, you could literally have this thing, these bills fast-tracked, and excited momentum flowing with them as you leave. And that's what you came to do. So I would just say, you know what? It's your time when you're in there, especially if you have the member. So you want to ask them two things. Will you please co-sponsor this bill and check it? And will you please talk to your leadership today, because it's that important for our fellow Americans. And you'll be amazed and you'll be surprised how much power you have and how the representatives and the members of Congress will listen. So I just want to say, when it comes to this issue, when we looked at tax reform back in 2017 on the Ways and Means Committee, that was my first year on the committee. And when we look at tax reform, and one of the things that we looked at long term over the country was man, we're going to have to teach generations of people in our country not to depend solely on the government to be able to rescue them no matter what age they are. I'm 55, and I know that. Are you applauding because I'm 55? Or why are you applauding? I tell my husband all the time, don't bank on Social Security to be here, and we're at 55. We've got to go into the future as our sole supporters to basically say, you know what, this is how we got here. We didn't lean on anybody, and we've got to look at our future the same way. So one of the things that we looked at was two things. One, how do we incentivize people to be able to save for their retirement? How do we incentivize millennials that really do want to save money and are very, very interested in all kinds of different things? How do we do that? And what's that going to look like? But you know what? For this to be the year, this year, next year, for us to be able to actually pass these bills in a bipartisan way, in a bicameral way, this gives us a new door to the future, a new window that doesn't look like gloom and doom like 5 years ago, like, oh my gosh, Social Security is going to run out, this is going to run out, this is going to run out. We found ways, we're looking for ways, and we're still trying to pass some good idea like universal savings accounts, where people can invest their money, young people, middle-aged people can invest their money in a universal savings account and pull it out with no strings attached. So they can, if they want to save for a family vacation, they can. If they want to save and raise their kids to see that if you put money aside, you can do something big. Or if they want to raise for whatever it is and let them go in and draw it out. To have total control over their money, but being incentivized by saving it someplace. And that hasn't passed yet. We couldn't get that through in tax reform. But those are the kind of things we continue to sit around the table and talk about. Making the independence inside of each American not to be dependent and just believe that a large, debt-ridden government is going to be able to pull them out. That's why I appreciate so much what you all are doing. It matters what you're doing because it matters what you believe. The NAIFA people that I work with in my district are passionate. They really believe in the people that they're serving. They really believe, you all really believe that you set your life aside and you could have done anything in the world and maybe you did something else prior, but you decided to get into this market because you really do care about the people that you serve. You wouldn't be out here giving time up and giving family time up to come and pound the hill if it wasn't something that you're passionate about, that you want to make a difference, and you want your fellow Americans to have the quality of life and American dream that you did and that you do. I don't think there's any greater service than that. We only have one life to live, and we live it to its fullest potential, and we make a difference with the families that you serve. And those are my constituents too, and that's why I do this. That's why I come and fight, try to bring the mountains down that are in front of people, that keep them from being able to reach that American dream, and that's what you do. So we're in this line of work together. And I can't tell you how much respect and integrity the folks in my district have. I look forward to going to a NAIFA meeting in my district because they're going to ask me questions, they're going to be excited about what we've accomplished together, and they're going to keep reminding me of what we haven't done yet. And how we should be thinking, and what their customers say. That's more important to me than reading a book on retirement, is knowing what your neighbors and your clients are saying and how they feel about the future. Are they confident in the future in this country? Are your customers confident that the economy is coming back? Are they confident that they have a solid path forward? Or do they feel like the government is still in their way, still holding them back? And I think over the last couple of years, we've grown together to see that we are laying out the best path we can in D.C. We're laying out tax reform so they have more money in their pockets, so they can provide for the little kids maybe that need new strollers and new bikes and books for school and those kinds of things. I can tell you, after we brought tax reform in, I'm in my district every weekend. I was at a Kohl's department store. About every weekend when I go home, I'm in Kohl's department store. So I make the excuse that I take my 80-year-old mother there, but I'm there too, checking out what I need for the next week usually. But I ran into a woman there. She didn't know me. She was a young woman pushing a stroller with a couple of kids. And I could tell she was nervous. She looked at me, she recognized me, and I could tell she was a little bit apprehensive about approaching me. So I just kind of smiled at her. I said, hi. And she comes up and she said, yeah, I've never talked to an elected representative before. And she said, I just want to thank you that my husband brought home $1,700 more throughout the year in his check in increments of about $150, $200. And I'm thinking to myself, and I know you're thinking, these are your clients. And she said, for the first time, we actually were able to set aside money to buy the kinds of things that we need to raise our two twins, little tiny girls. And they were in a double stroller. She said, we didn't know where we were going to get it. We didn't know how we were going to keep up with it and how we were going to be able to afford to raise twins at this point in our life. And she was pretty young. And I said, you know what? I just did my little piece. I just did my little part. But you made my week by telling me that you've got more money in your pocket and you see the connection between work being good and independence. And it builds the American dream. And you've got more of it. And you can see the plan already of where you're going to be able to use that. And I said, and the economy is continuing to climb. A couple of weeks later, my husband and I on a weekend, we're in a restaurant, and a big guy, big burly street worker guy, I don't know him, he doesn't know me, but he just came up to me and said, ma'am, I just want to thank you. He said, we immediately noticed that money in our check. And this is long before tax checks came out, or we were even thinking about tax checks. But since tax checks came out, I've even had more people coming up to me in northern Indiana to say, we got more money in our monthly checks and we got a tax return on top of it, and we're actually making plans on what we can do as a family. You know, that starts the American dream. Families making more money. Companies investing at record rate. GDP at 3.2%, when the news still, they can't even get those numbers out of their mouth. They can't say it. It's doom and gloom. I had an organization yesterday in the district at home that wanted to talk to me, and it was some of the folks that were representing charitable giving in this country. And I had read an article before they came in. The article said charitable giving is up, not down. Even though the tax rate and the double deductible, even though the double deduction has changed and the tax rates and all kinds of things have been moved, giving is still up. They came in to tell me giving was down and that they needed to have that tax reform changed again. And I said, you know, I'm not exactly sure where you're getting your information from, but boy, when I'm home and I'm out and about amongst the folks that voted for me, life is good. I can walk past places, I can walk into places, into local business, and they're telling me where they're giving money to invest in the community. Sometimes I'll walk past people and they're just going like this and saying, keep it up. And they'll leave, they'll walk by. I flew here yesterday with a bunch of frequent flyers that I always fly with, and I get on the plane, I'm flying with a bunch of Michigan people, and they look at me, and they don't even say anything anymore. They don't delineate what they're excited about. They literally just walk past me and go, keep it up, go fight. So that's what I'm doing. I'm here fighting. I fight for trade and tariffs. I work with the president and the White House, trying to make sure that what we're doing is fair and we continue to build the economy and give every American business the fair shake they need. China's ripped us off billions of dollars in intellectual property. I agree with the president, but boy, we've got to take care of all of our companies, and that's what I'm doing. And by taking care of all these companies, small business in America, large business, and global international business that we're taking care of and making sure that we're being fair about tariffs, I hope they're growing and building their companies and sending you more clients. and that you can continue to educate and instill in all of those families to save, to think about retirement, and to think about taking care of the independence of America and their own family. And at the same time as all that's going on, just know one thing: I have your back. I respect who you are and what you're doing. We're going to celebrate at some point as soon as this bill passes and it goes to the president's desk. And hopefully you come back out and we can celebrate. But keep doing what you're doing. Keep producing a vibrant America. Keep caring about your clients. Keep working with us and pushing my colleagues to make sure that this passes, gets done as soon as possible. And let's work together in making sure that we have the best America we've ever had, and that we all look to build and continue to work together to build our American dream. So thank you so much for being here. God bless all of you as you go out and do your world's business, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. It's such an honor to see you.